It is August 19th, 2019, and welcome to another Brooklyn Baritone Podcast. Hey everyone, thank you for joining me out there listening or looking at me on YouTube or wherever you may happen to see me. I was going to do a podcast on something totally different, another subject, but I just had, another change. I go through a lot of thoughts in my head of things I jot down. I write things down if you've been listening to my past podcasts, and I decided to go on growth. That's something very simple that we overlook a lot. And, before I even go any further, for everyone who sees me on my last podcast, if you even care, I said I was going to rock a branded t-shirt, my usual Brooklyn Baritone gear, my hat and all that stuff, but I'm wearing the sexy vest today. And I didn't feel like changing out of that, just let me keep my sexiness today for at least today. Now I'll bring back the stuff if you even care about it. I care about it next week. Anyways, going into growth. Growth is something that we overlook, and we often not take the small things. We take the small, simple things. Now, because something may be simple doesn't mean it's easy, but there's so much things in how we think and how we're conditioned to think and how we move all the time. So much little details that make up the big things in life we overlook. We always look at the big things. We take growth for granted as we think growth is limited. And again, the reason why I talk about these things of development to reflect properly and to think of things that you've done, and I'm always sharing my own experiences, whether it's professional, personal, or just walks through life. I'm always looking to, of course, improve things, but also shed light on things that so much of us just overlook because we're in the grind every day of trying to pay a bill or trying to make moves or trying to get a job, whatever it is. We just take so many things for granted. We lose opportunities. We're burning energy and not getting anything in return. There's no ROI, return on investment, which is our time, our focus, our energy. Growth is something that we all need to do, but then I'm going to talk about what kind of growth. We can have growth, but is it the good kind of growth? Is it the proper growth? Are you growing at a proper rate? Because you could be growing in a positive direction, but that doesn't mean that you're taking full advantage of your time and your opportunities that are available to you. Of course, I'm going to start off with the definition. Growth, there's three definitions here. The process of increasing in physical size, it's growth. Second, the process of developing or maturing physically, mentally, or spiritually. That's the kind of growth we're trying to talk about. And the last one, the process of increasing in amount, value, or importance. So growth can apply to different things, but it's basically things getting bigger, getting stronger, getting better in the proper manner. Now, we all have opportunities every day to grow. And the best ways to grow as human beings is taking in information, change that information into knowledge, and then applying that knowledge, which is wisdom. Now, wisdom, you work smarter and not harder. You make the most of every opportunity given to you, afforded to you. Every person you network with properly, every resource you utilize, you look to maximize its impact on you or your impact on whatever it is you are engaged in or anyone else that you are engaged in. That's how we grow. I'm always looking through notes that I'm writing down. So what I have down here is growth is undeniably important to our very existence. It's how we were made. We were created. Everything has a design and a purpose and a function to it. Always remember that. Not only to our own lives, but we are responsible for the proper growth of everyone and everything around us. I always talk about dominion, having humility, responsible. Talk about leadership back in one of my older podcasts. So it's not just grow. because I've been part of organizations where they were growing aggressively. Now on the books, at the surface level, it looked great. To the regular person that says, oh, wow, we opened up more sites within 2 years' time. We doubled our income. Yeah, but it wasn't proper growth. It wasn't organic growth. And there's a lot of unethical things that were going on and a lot of things that were causing people to get burnt out. You're not utilizing your talent properly. So that organization is not here anymore as a result of that kind of growth. So you have bad growth too. It may look good. You probably could be getting money reciprocated, could be getting a lot of good attention for now, but how are you growing properly? Are you trying to garner, establish long-term growth? That's the goal. You don't want to burn anything out. You don't want to burn bridges. You don't want to burn yourself out. You don't want to burn out any resources you have. You don't want to burn out any talent that may be on board helping you get to whatever goal you have in mind. You want to utilize things properly, organically. You just have to trust the process. Put whatever it is in motion, but you have to trust the process. Is when you get better at things. I have here, growth happens when two things occur. When someone or something is allowed to progressively fulfill or engage any underlying potential. It could be what they were designed for or what they were capable of. One more time I'll say that. Growth happens when two things occur. When someone or something is allowed to progressively fulfill or engage any underlying potential. It could be what they were designed for or what they are capable of. That means you're given the opportunity to do what you do. It could be someone who's a runner. You're not going to be able to run better if you don't really get a chance to run. Practice running. Discover that you like to run. You don't get as winded as other people. You actually like to push yourself more. You actually have people around you that would push you or put you in a situation or circumstances that'll allow you to run. Run, Forrest, run. He was given the opportunity to run, and then that little push from Jenny, and he ran. And he just ran, right? So you have to have the know-how, have the design to do certain things, the capability to do certain things, the potential to do certain things, and given that opportunity, take advantage of it so you can develop yourself. That's one part of growth. Okay? The second thing I put is when someone or something is able to positively overcome consistent resistance. Okay? For example, I have muscular growth. When you go to the gym, you want to go work out, you can go run and stuff, do aerobics and stuff, but most people go to the gym and they lift weights. It's a form of resistance, physical resistance. Because those resistance, the weights, they're heavy because they're designed to have a certain amount of weight on them. They are designed to just take the least path of resistance to gravity on the ground. If you want to get bigger, you have to resist that, push it. So it's going to be hard and heavy because if you use light weights, you get a little bit of work, but you're not going to get as much growth if you stay with 10 pounds as opposed to starting to work with 50 pounds. More resistance. You're going to get tired more. You're going to get sore more because what happens, most people know that, the more you lift consistently, the muscles tear, the fibers tear, and you give them a chance to grow and they grow back in more abundance now. So you got more muscles where everybody, is so big. When they go to the gym, they constantly, they overcome that resistance to grow muscular. It increases strength, increases the appearance of it. That is muscular growth. Overcoming, when someone or something is able to positively overcome consistent resistance. Another example I have here too is intellectual growth. That happens when you are subject to information and experiences that challenge you to process more knowledge than you were previously comfortable with. So I just talked about physical growth, muscular growth, and now you have also another kind of growth, intellectual growth, where now you are a bit challenged to learn more, to take in more information than what you were previously privy to. No one person knows everything. Some people know a whole lot of things, but you're not going to know everything. You're always going to have someone out there that's going to bring or make available some information that you had no idea existed before. And then you take that and add that to your portfolio of information and experience and hopefully apply that for wisdom. Because that's how you grow mentally and intellectually. You do certain things that just challenge you to move out of your comfort zone. You could be in a good spot, but you could be in a better place. That'll allow you to afford better opportunities because you could probably see it better now or pursue certain things now because now you know I wanted to get a house, but it's better to get a house during this time of the year, or better to get a house in this area, or better to get a house with this type of land with it, or I know not to buy that kind of property, as opposed to saying, hey, I got a loan or I got money, let me run out and buy a house, as opposed to let me just wait, survey everything, do my research and homework, then I'll make the move, if I should make the move. That's growth. Because that's the proper kind of growth. Those are two examples of what I have of proper growth, where you are one way now, but based on your potential that's in you, based on you being challenged one way, shape, or form positively, and you're able to have more strength, you're able to have more knowledge, you're outfitted more with more internal resources to go out and maximize your value and the value of everything and everyone around you. Take a seed, for example. It has purpose and it has design. The purpose is to grow into a plant. Whatever plant that has seeds is going to grow into that plant. It's only going to grow into a plant, though, again, when it is allowed to progressively fulfill or engage its underlying potential. So you can have a seed, and I could just throw it on the floor in the studio here, even though they don't allow food in here, Just saying hypothetically, I have a seed, and I throw it on the ground. It's not going to grow. Why is it not going to grow? Because it's not in the proper environment. It's not allowed to progressively fulfill its potential. So I can have it, the potential could be there, but you have to have the proper environment for proper growth. Now you can have some growth somewhere, but it's not going to be to the best ability because roots are not going to take place in here unless I crack open the ceiling, allow sun to get in here, rainwater to get in there, and possibly some dirt, dust. Maybe after a while, the seed may have a little something to take hold of. Whereas I take that same seed and go find some good soil out in the open air and plant it. Then it's going to have a greater potential of growing. This is what we do with a lot of people. Everybody has potential to do so much. Everybody has potential to grow properly. But what other conditions are they subject to? Is it actually going to bring out the best in them? Are you doing your best to help people bring out their potential for proper growth? So you have to be careful, especially with children, how you raise them, what you say to them, what do you expose them to? What do you uplift them on? What do you educate them on? What do you allow them to do to develop as habits? Habits, another podcast. You have to be careful because certain habits can hinder you. Certain habits can enhance you. What are you doing for other people around you? Leaders, people in leadership positions, managers, directors, executives, CEOs. What are you doing? Leads, heads of whatever, what are you doing to recognize your talent? I understand that there's a bottom line of certain things that are required, that needs to be done for the company or for the goal or whatever the mission statement is for your organization or for yourself. What are you doing to help that talent get to their best potential so that they can turn around with their enhanced value and give value back to other people and thus the organization, and as everyone and everything around them as a whole? Or are you stunting their growth? Are you very negative? Are you toxic? Do you play favorites? Do you constantly look for the bad things that they do? And the bad things they do possibly because it's be them being set up for failure, right? Even though people are to be held accountable for their own actions. But in the world we are in, where we're not really taught to focus on our true selves, we're focused to grow what the world expects ourselves to be and look like. Instead of our true faces being shown, we have a mask. Most of us spend a lot of our lives crafting a mask, not based and catered to what we should be doing or geared towards, but what we think the rest of the world sees as success. So we have a mask on. We're not our true selves. What are you doing as a leader? And I say this all the time. Everyone has a potential to be a leader. Are they given the proper environment and opportunity to develop into a leader? There's people right now who are being squashed, who are being silenced right now, who are being sabotaged right now, who's supposed to be a proper leader, and they know and they feel it in their bones. They see the change that needs to happen, but they are not allowed to do it. Maybe because they lack the confidence, or they just lack the opportunities that people keep taking from them. What kind of leader are you? Do you have people that will miss you when you're gone? Do you have people that are happy to see you and are grateful that you were in their lives? Or are you the type of person that is happy when you take a day off? Are you the kind of person that won't have much friends? Are you the kind of people who are only have selective kind of people, not because you are of a different ilk and people can't get on your level? Can you honestly say you've helped just about everyone that you've come across? Have you given people the proper opportunity to grow in the way they're supposed to? Have you actually gauged everyone around you to see what is his strengths? What are her strengths? What is his weakness? What is her weakness? What is my weakness? What are my strengths? Because you're going to have weaknesses and strengths. You can't put yourself in a position where your weaknesses come out. Try your best to know yourself and know your crew around you and everyone around you and everything around you. See what you're good at, what you're not good at. What you're not good at, this person could be a pro at. So you make up the difference. Okay? Whatever they're great at, try your best to focus them on that so that they can enhance themselves and not always magnify their shortcomings. This is proper growth. Because they are doing what's in them. Their potential, their underlying potential is now being discovered. Remember what I talked about that runner earlier? Some people are fantastic natural runners, but they don't even know it. Because they never had the opportunity to actually go outside and run, to participate in anything, had the time to do it. Could be financially, could be socially, could be a lot of different issues. Why they're not available to do these things, to be exposed to their true selves, to grow, to blossom. That seed in them is on the floor, getting stomped on every day, as opposed to getting out of fresh air, sunlight coming down, rain coming down, in the proper soil, in the proper environment to nurture it, and boom, after a while, whatever it is that's in you is just going to come out. It's natural, but you have to have the proper environment for proper growth. I could swim a bit. I know how to swim somewhat. I'm not an Olympic swimmer or nothing. I'm not winning any gold medals. But I do all right in the water. I learned how to swim very long time ago. A place far away, in the YMCA. This is back in the day too, so how they taught you to swim, they had two different size pools, small pool, of course, kiddie pool, and a bigger Olympic size pool. Again, I said I'm not an Olympic swimmer, but most places have Olympic size pools. We have the shallow end, which is good, like about 5 feet. And then the deep end, which is like about 12 feet, something like that. 12 or 15 feet, I think. Might have been 15. Anyways, to get a passing grade for the course for swimming, you had to swim from the deep end to the shallow end, straight. Okay? No stopping, no route onto the sides. You got to do straight. Of course, a lot of guys were scared. You know, we were younger. A lot of kids were scared. Some they just loved the water, jumped in. So we were in line up to my turn. I'm like, please, no, I don't want to go in. I don't want to go in. I can swim good enough. I'm good. No, you got to do it. It's part. I'm going to throw you in, Corey. No. Threw me in. I'm like, I can't believe he threw me in. Man, listen. I was breaststroking, backstroking, all types of stroking, just all the way to the end. All the way to the end, right? I'm like, oh, wow, I did it. You did it. Because I was the one who wasn't giving myself the opportunities. I'm too scared of drowning, even though there's a bunch of lifeguards there. They're not going to let you drown, So sometimes we hold ourselves back from proper growth because we are scared, of just doing it. Just do it. Just do it. Some things are kind of like the unknown for you, uncharted territory for you, but sometimes you just have to do things, Sometimes you're like, you know what, if there's a certain risk involved, then we just go for it. Be wise, of course. But a lot of times, we have so much opportunities to grow every day. Every day is an opportunity to learn something new if your mind is focused on it. If your mind is not, then it's going to be a regular day. You're not going to learn anything. Going to get to a flatline level where you get no blips. It's just flatline. You get nothing new. And then life becomes mundane. It becomes dry. It becomes drab. And it's easy to become depressed and just fall into a cycle where you don't even want to shift and move to do anything. Some people do after a while, but it's really easy to fall into that style and line of thinking. You block your own self. You block your own blessings that the Father has for you, for all of us. And by you blocking yourself and your blessings, you're not living up to your potential for proper growth. You are holding back on the value that you have inside of you for someone else to take advantage of too. Not to exploit you, but you could be that catalyst for someone else, to make their move. To someone that's waiting on you right now to grow. Remember, you have to make yourself tangible. Make it tangible. Like I said before, one of my other podcasts, of course. Make it tangible. Go out there and do it. Put yourself out there. That's one of the best ways to grow yourself, because you get now to interact with people and see things and do things and apply these things now. Now you have more of yourself out there. But there's more of yourself out there potentially to grow in different manners. You have to do it. Can't hold yourself back. And even if other people may be holding you back, you don't ever stop. You don't ever stop. Look for every little opportunity you grab onto to try your best to better yourself. It's all about growth. That's how everything was designed. Everything grows. Everything grows. That is organic. Okay? One more thing that I wrote here. It's important, as I've talked about just now, to emphasize positive growth. Positive growth. Unchecked growth, or any kind of growth that does not involve constructive or positive intent, is detrimental, means harmful. All right, so if it's not constructive, help building proper things to advance people and things, or has positive intent, it's harmful, toxic, poisonous, destructive, chaotic. Example that I put, I'll use cancerous cells. Most of us are very familiar with what cancer is. Cancerous cells are usually a form of free radical cells. They just basically drift along, doing their own thing, not really having a purpose. They multiply and they grow with no additional value to the body. So they're there taking in nutrients, taking in whatever it is they want to grow when they're taking up space now. Now it's taking up actual resources that your cells and your organs need now. So now it's taken away. It's not doing anything good for you. It's not like it's some kind of, X-Men mutant gene now where it's like some weird free radical, but I could fly because of it. Or I could lift up 100 tons over my head. Nah, it does nothing. So it takes a space and resources that other cells and organs need, but it does not reciprocate value that it is taking. Now they grow, right? But it also takes life. It takes your life. It takes things that your body needs. I use that because that impacts so much people every day. Millions, possibly billions. I usually do with statistics, but I didn't. But we know it impacts people so terribly. So terribly. It impacts people in a negative way. You're never going to hear anyone who says, I'm glad I got cancer. It just takes. As I mentioned before, in an organization that I worked, it grew. But it did a lot more taking than it did giving. Now, I was in the educational field, yes, but they're not here. Purpose of having a proper educational organization is to grow people. And you utilize your resources, your know-how, your talent that's there to make that organization run is there to help, is to grow itself and grow other people academically. Well, that wasn't the case. Again, there was a lot of other factors, underlying factors, unethical factors, where it grew, but the true value wasn't reciprocated. So it took value for aggressive growth because it looks good on a stock portfolio. It looks good on someone's record. It looks good on someone's resume. But in the long run, where are they? Gone. We have to keep in mind just because we think we're growing in one way, you're not really. You can have a whole bunch of friends, yeah, but what kind of friends do you have? You got a squad with you, but what is the mentality of the people in that squad? Are they really trying to get money up and, not talking about just getting money a quick way. I made a G today, but you made it in the sleazy way. Trying to get it ski mask way. You trying to just do things underhanded, doing credit card schemes, or you just trying to get money just to floss? Because I always look at a lot of people, around the way, New York City, Brooklyn. It's going to be a lot of people that is going to be into some illicit and possibly illegal activities, things that are undesired among other upstanding citizens in the neighborhood. How much of those guys do you really think actually take the money that they're making and, good amount of them make a decent amount of money? How much of them do you think really have a retirement plan? How much do you really see have like a house, a decent house and property that they actually flip? Now, I'm not trying to endorse illegal stuff, but how much people do you think actually we're going to get this money? And then when we get this money in the streets, I have a proposal for opening up this park and opening a school for this zone because this zone has one of the lowest graduation rates and the highest of gang-related activity. So we figure we could use the money we use in the streets to put back into the community. Or plan B, I could get ahead and get this property over in Midwest or down south, get a home, pay for cash because we're making this money, we balling, and getting property so I could plant proper things on or actually build up my own establishment and get an actual legit business and get away from the streets. And then, we can really live, can get a house, get a little business, a little title, get our tax ID in orders. No, how much of those guys do you think are really thinking in your squad or squads like that, that's actually thinking like that actually accomplish that? Not saying no one does. Majority of them, though, do not. That's because you've grown with your numbers, your peoples, or grown with your money. What are you doing with that? Are you a cancerous growth? You killing yourself little by little? Because you have to also look to, you have to have proper growth, not just go out in life and do you. You have to expand yourself and your knowledge, your proper network, spiritual growth. intellectual growth. Everything basically comes down to spiritual foundations. That's where it starts. Leads into physical, intellectual, all that stuff. We all can easily be our own enemy because we can weaponize our own ignorance against ourselves because we're not willing to understand things outside of our comfort zone. If you're not willing to expand outside your comfort zone, then you're not really growing. No matter what you're doing, you're not really growing. Because if you do happen to stay in a comfort zone and happen to get to a level where you could be doing more things, your mind is limited. Your focus is limited. Whereas now you have an opportunity to see, oh, I know this guy who has access to money for things that I could do, or resources, or network with certain people that can now open more doors for me, but you're so closed-minded now. You weaponize successfully your own ignorance against yourself, so you can't grow. Even if you are put in the position. If someone takes you from here and puts you here, boom, put you on top of a throne. Here is a kingdom for you. I think you're a good fit. Here's a kingdom for you to oversee. Because I like how you talk, I like how you move, and you're not ready for it. You destroyed yourself because you never took advantage of the opportunity to grow yourself spiritually, mentally, intellectually. Physically, too, you have to do that, too, as well. Are you growing yourself? Are you staying stagnant? Are you helping other people grow? That was the basis behind me coming up with that. It's so very important. Wow, I'm over here at the past the 30-minute mark, but I think I covered a lot of things that we need to look at. You know, are you an asset where you are, or are you a liability? Are you growing? Saying your prayers, eating your vitamins? You gotta do these things, man. You gotta take your spiritual vitamins, your intellectual vitamins, and your physical vitamins, man. It's all about growth, but not the growth of what we in the world like to think of what growth is. I got 5,000 followers. Yeah, okay. Are you really growing? You know, are the people close to you, anybody else that may hear you, are they going to really miss anything? You know? Or are things going to be actually better with you not around? You got to think about that too. Because we're so busy growing in our own state of mind, we don't know we're doing damage. We really have to be humble and understand what we're bringing to the table, what our potential is. Are we living our potential? Are we building up our potential? Are we laying the groundwork every day? Are we learning things new? Are we helping other people? The whole 9 yards. Growth. It's all about growth. Every day you learn something, you do something. That's what it's about. I'm doing a little bit of my part with my little technology here, my resources I have available to talk to you, to share with you, hopefully spark something in you. Okay? It's all about growth, everybody. Anyways, I'm going now. I'm signing off. Thank you for listening to another episode of Brooklyn Baritone Podcast. Listen for me weekly. You can see me on YouTube. Catch me on my website, brooklynbaritone.com. On my YouTube site, please don't forget to subscribe. I'm also, of course, all the time on Google Play and iTunes. Love you, everybody. Take care. Walk good. Stay blessed.